Hey guys, this is Michael from McNulty Tech Studio, starting my YouTube channel with the very first video here, just trying to put some feelers out there, see if I could do something like this and try to share some of my tech knowledge and some of my tech experience with the rest of the world through YouTube. So I just recently purchased an M2 MacBook Pro 16-inch. I've been using a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro, the fully spec'd out version. It had like an i9 2.3 gigahertz processor, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte, and the dedicated AMD graphics. And I've been using that for a long time, but I finally convinced myself to get the new M2 MacBook Pro and give that a try. So I just got it. I've been using it for about 24 hours, getting all of my normal applications, all Xcode and Swift, all the different things that I use in there, as well as Microsoft's Visual Studio and a few other things installed. And it's been a really great experience. I think one of the biggest things for me I noticed right away coming from the old MacBook Pro to this new one is just the fact that the new one, the 120 hertz display is incredible. I've really been impressed with the refresh rate, the speed of even just like, I usually arrange my workflow where I have multiple different desktops open all across the top, and I switch between them just with that 3-finger swipe. And I usually arrange my workflow that way, but I especially noticed a lot of stuttering between when I switch between the two. My M2 is just perfectly smooth, but my old Intel one just kind of stutters when I switch between them, and it's just to use it like how it looks. It doesn't really matter. It just bothers me a little bit. So that's one of the biggest things that stood out to me. There's a couple things that were kind of shocking. The speakers on my 4-year-old 2019 MacBook Pro are better, in my opinion, than the new M2 speakers. I think they get louder, and I think there's kind of a sacrifice made on the M2. They get not as loud, but they sound better in the same range that the Intel one can hit. So I've noticed there's some little sounds in some songs that I can hear that I maybe wouldn't be able to hear on the Intel one as easily, but it can also get louder. So that's kind of like a trade-off. I've also noticed, obviously, the screen is different, right? It has the new 120 hertz refresh rate. The brightness seems brighter on the other one. Like when you max it out, the whites seem whiter, the brightness seems brighter. There's some kind of, something different about this one. Obviously, it's probably just the fact that it's got the mini LED display on there. So I really like that, but it's just something I noticed. Overall, though, everything else has been great. I personally was the kind of person that always loved the touch bar. So I kind of miss the touch bar a lot. That was, there's been several times just in the past like hour or two where I'm typing a text message and I type smile, and then I reach up to hit where the smile would be, where it would have shown up on the touch bar, and it's not there. I don't have a touch bar, and that's just, it's a little thing. I text my wife and all the time from my Mac, and obviously it's not as easy to use emojis. You have to hit like that function key or that like world icon and then choose the emoji. But on the touch bar, you could literally type the word laugh or smile, and as soon as you did, it would preview 3 different emojis right there along the top of the touch bar to select that matched the word you typed. I loved that. So definitely missed that. Otherwise, I mean, the rest of the features of the touch bar I never used. It just looked cool, and I know there were mods you could use to like, little things you could load in programs to like have a pet run across it or whatever. I never used that. I didn't even use it to scrub through video. I still use just the drag on YouTube and stuff, so that just worked better for me. Outside of that, I mean, the keyboard's definitely better. It's easier to use. I would say it has a little bit more solid like rigidity to it. So when I'm typing, I definitely feel a little bit more of the keys when I'm hitting each one. On my old Intel one, it's kind of to the point where I don't know if it's just because I've been using it for a while, but I definitely tend to like slip and kind of fudge some of the keys sometimes. One thing I will say, probably the biggest thing that's driven me crazy about the new one is the edges of the front of the laptop are so sharp. Like I literally was like looking, I'd rest my arm there for a minute, I'd look and I'd have like a mark in my skin because it's so sharp. I swear I could cut paper with it if I like slid a piece of paper across it. I don't love that. I don't know why they made it so sharp. It's just annoying. Hopefully it'll like kind of wear down over time and get more comfortable, but that really has been frustrating for me. Outside of that, it's been a great experience. I love having a dedicated the key dictation key. Thank you. There we go. I love having a dedicated dictation key. On the old Intel one, you'd have to hit like Option twice to have it actually start dictation, but on this one you just hit F5, the dictation key, and it just runs. So a couple other things that I've noticed while using the M2 MacBook Pro. Personally, I use the laptop by itself 90% of the time. I have no reason to use it, you know, with an iPad or another screen. I use MacBook screen because it looks great, it works great, and everything's fine with me. I like the inclusion of the HDMI port because the other 10% of the time, if I go to my parents' house, you know, we want to play a game, whatever it is, plug it into the TV and just go. And I like that. I also really love the MagSafe connector. I think that was awesome that they brought that back. So that's definitely been nice for me. I think one thing that I'm kind of disappointed by is the fact that I have a bunch of MacBook Power Bricks that are all not the 141 now. So anytime I'm going to use those, it's going to be a slower charge, which doesn't really matter, but it bothers me a little bit. Another thing that I think is annoying is now I theoretically will have to buy more MagSafe connectors if I want to have them more than one place. So usually what I do is I have a MacBook charger at my desk in the basement, and then I have a MacBook charger that I carry with me 24/7 in my go bag with everything in there. And now I'm not going to have a MagSafe charger in one of those locations. So I might have to buy another one. I'll have to look and see. I don't really want to spend the money though, so we'll kind of have to see about that. But in the meantime, it is nice that I can charge via USB-C just like normal. So literally nothing changed at my desk in the basement, and I just carry my MagSafe connector around with me for the places that I need a MagSafe connector. So that's really nice. So to sum everything up, in my opinions about the M2 Pro 16-inch MacBook Pro, it's absolutely worth the upgrade from the 16-inch Intel version. I mean, I had the maxed out Intel version and I loved that thing for years and years and years. Even now, comparing them side to side, it's kind of hard to really decide between them a little bit. But at the same time, with the M2 Pro, the refresh rate is so much better, it's so much smoother, the processor's just so much faster, especially for Apple things where if you code in Swift, if you use you know, the Swift game that they have, if you like to use Xcode, things like that, it's just so much faster and so much more energy efficient. You get a much better battery life. The keyboard's just a little bit better. You get the MagSafe connector, you get the HDMI, you know, the port and the SD card slot as well. There's just so many benefits to upgrading. At this point, I think it's definitely worth the upgrade if you have an old Intel Mac to go ahead and get one of the new you know, M2, M1 MacBooks. I'm glad I got the M2 Pro because now it's a little more future-proofed. Obviously, like everybody says, you know, from M1 Pro to M2 Pro, it's just a slight spec boost. It's not a huge deal, but you know, getting the M2 Pro, you just get the newest spec, you know, version, and then you're going to be set for a little bit longer. So that's definitely worth the upgrade for me, coming from an Intel MacBook and going to that M2 MacBook. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please go ahead and like and subscribe, and, you know, leave any comments down below if you have any suggestions or anything you want to share or anything I should add to the video. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys around.